all the way from Surabaya this time. I will share my screen. The topic of this, for me this evening, for you this morning, is military records. Let me see. So probably you see my screen at the moment, and I will slideshow start from first slide. Yeah. This is the third webinar in the series, focusing on military records and what to gain from those records and where to find them. As Willem-Jan says, it's a webinar series every second Saturday of the month, starting 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 11 p.m. Surabaya time, hosted by TIP and produced by IGV. We are with our society, the IGV, and 20 other members on a study trip through Java, through Indonesia, and we're at day 7 today. And you can follow us. You can follow the study trip in igv.nl, and in the news sections you see all the things that we are doing these days. Now the program is here, the 10 webinars. 1 and 2 are under the belt, and number 3 is military records, which is the topic of today. First 30 minutes presentation, then 30 minutes Q&A, and a little bit of overflow if needed. So I'll start again with a family picture of my own family. And this picture was taken in Gombong in the middle of Java in 1920. And you see a wedding picture of my grandparents. These are Rien Brouwer and Paul Fornerod. But apart from the couple, the wedded couple, you see many other family members, namely the father of the groom, Opa Jan, and he was a KNIL soldier. He was retired in 1920 already for quite some time. Then in the middle, there is Oma Chang. So it's my great-great-grandmother, but it's in this picture, it's the grandmother of the bride. And she was the widow of another KNIL military, a sergeant who was Fritz Brouwer, and who already passed away in 1899. So you can say that I am from a KNIL family, a military family, and KNIL stands for Koninklijk Nederlands Indisch Leger of Royal Dutch East Indies Army. The 2 boys in the front are the brothers of the bride, and we call them Oom Nono and Oom Boelie. And they also, when they were older, went into the army, to the KNIL, and made it into lieutenant and colonel in the KNIL. One person that is missing in action is the mother of the groom. That's depicted here on the right side, and she is an Indonesian woman who kept her distance from the European family most of the time. Now Opa Jan, in a little bit younger days, he was born as a son of another KNIL soldier, 1867, and here we see his partner Palima, which we know very, very little about. Now, as an example of such a military family history, the question is, what can we find in the military records of that time? And you can find these details or information about these military personnel in the stud books, which is a summary of the military career, and it has the day the person was enrolled, what ranks he had, but also the parents, the datum, the place of birth, facial features, career events, retirement and death. And sometimes you can also find the spouses and children in these stud books. There are many different types of stud books, but for genealogy, the parents and the date and place of birth and the spouse and children are in any case very interesting. Now, many different types, as I told you, and the next slide, and so the type of stud book depended on the recruit specifics, and there are three variables important. So either was the person legally a European or a non-European, and with legally European I mean a European by law and not so much a European by ethnicity, because very often the mixed Indo population were considered legally to be European, even though they were not ethnically European. And the second variable is whether the military was recruited in the Netherlands or abroad, and if the person was an officer or a soldier, or a regular soldier or a under officer. Now, there are different stud books, and I won't go into all the different stud books in detail, because in order to find your stud book, you don't have to go to the individual stud book anymore. You can just search a archive that has all the different stud books, or many of the different stud books included, so we can skip the details of where to find what, and just use the archive from the Indische Genealogische Vereniging, the Indisch Archief. And the Indisch Archief is a professional database of our society. And I can show you how that works for the military. So then I'll escape the PowerPoint to see how that works. Let's say this is my Zoom. Don't want that. I want to go to the Indisch Archive. Okay, oh, this is, so you can easily get to the Indisch Archief by just going to igv website and then Indisch Archief. Then you click on that link. And I'm logged in. And so you need login credentials, but the members of the TIP seminar, so the participants of the seminar can get a free login credentials. Just send an email to me, and I'll give you that. So if you would type in my last name, Fornerod, and then you see persons, one result, and you can always translate this into English, right? So one search results in persons, and the search results means that only in the archive persons there are results, but there are 16 results. First name, and then you can say in the role military, and then we see the Fornerods that have a role in the military. So let's check this one, and so that gives a direct link to the archive. So it immediately, so you don't have to worry which stud book it is. You can just click, and then if the internet connection from Surabaya to The Hague and back again to California works, this can take a little while. You see the stud book. I also have it. I think I also have it in the PowerPoint. Here we go. So immediately you see the stud book. You have to rotate it in order to see it. And there we go. So here we see, indeed, Jan Fornerod. And of course it's in Dutch, but you can see the father is Jan. The mother is, here it says Mutes. In other documents, it would say Kutes, an Indonesian woman, born Martapura, in southeast, the department of Borneo, Kalimantan, on the 25th of April, 1876. Last lived in Semarang. So this is this is one of the stud books. It's a stud book of the Pupil Corps, which is the military organization for young boys from age I think age 10 to age 16, and they had a training sort of. So that's one. And so if you look for a name, you can just every time click on the link, and then you'll get immediately to the scan of the person in question. All right. Going back. Okay. Okay. Now for Oma Chang, she was a widow of another KNIL soldier, and this KNIL, there's only one picture left of him. This is the husband of Oma Chang, and there was an old story passed by the family. The father of Uncle Wim, which is this person, was a KNIL sergeant, and he had his sons swear that they would never go into the army. So probably he had seen enough violence, and indeed he had 5 sons, and none of these sons went into the army, but his grandsons did. And so this person is Frederik Adolf Brouwer, and we know from oral history, we know almost nothing. We have this one story and maybe one other story, but for the rest we don't have any information. So then you have to go to the archives, and in the same way you find the stud book of this person, this forefather of mine, and there you see the father of this person, and the father is Arnoldus Fredericus, and the mother is the Indonesian woman called Kawen, born in Juruksing near Madiun. Madiun is in the middle of Java. So this is interesting. If you have a stud book record like this, it's important to look at all the details, all the numbers, all the dates, all the little stamps. And for example, here it's difficult to read, but it says here vol stamp 11021, and that stands for complete stud book number 11021. And so it means that there is another stud book that you can search, and sometimes or often there is more information there. And you have to follow this number in the National Archives. And the National Archives, I'll give you the link. So do this at home. If you find a record with a full stamp and then a number, it's a little bit of work to follow this number, but you go to this link, and then you follow this number in the website archive, in the user interface that you get. It has a lot of numbers, but at a certain point you see in inventory number 344. You are in the right number range, and then you click on that. And so you find the other stud book, and it's a more extended stud book of the same person. And it gives much more detail of his military career. And also, it gives here on the left, it gives a marriage, namely, it states that this person was married on the 29th of May with an Indonesian woman called Esther. And Esther is the person that is here in the center, and she was baptized, and probably her baptized name was Esther. Nobody ever called her Esther. Everybody ever called her Oma Chang. So we know by this by this other stud book suddenly a detail of that Indonesian woman that we had not known before, and it's difficult to find it anywhere else. There's a marriage date, there's a name, so we're a little step further in understanding who she really was. Okay, so another important resource connected to the military is the Japanese prisoner of war cards. These are also scanned and in the National Archive. So, you know, if when Japan invaded the Dutch East Indies and conquered the Dutch East Indies, the military was taken prisoner, and the Japanese have meticulously registered all the prisoners of war with the name, the date, the profession, the father, the mother, the address, etc., etc. And all these prisoner of war cards are scanned and are available in the National Archives, at least when the person was born before 1921. If the person was born after 1921, because of privacy reasons, you can still ask for this prisoner of war card, but you have to be a family member, I believe. It looks like this. This is just one example. It gives the name of the soldier that was prisoner of war, in this case, Albert Adolf Brouwer. And Albert Adolf Brouwer was a younger brother of my grandmother. Here is the unit, the first section, first company. He was, let me see, date of birth, 1901. My grandmother was born 1900, so he was the second child. The parents, here, so the name of the mother, Wilhelmina Horst. The name of the father, Willem Frederik Brouwer. Then the place of origin, Bombong, Java. Occupation, so many things are in Japanese. But if you go to the National Archives website, many things are also automatically translated. And then here there is a address. Very often it's difficult to find addresses of people who lived in the Dutch East Indies, but this is a source of addresses. This is wife E. Brouwer, and then the street, and they lived in Bandung. Now, another source is graveyards. And I'm here in Surabaya, and today I visited the Ereveld, so the military graveyard, Kembang Kuning. Kembang Kuning is much bigger than just the Ereveld. There's also a civilian, a very large civilian Christian graveyard. So this was today, And these graveyards are maintained by an organization in the Netherlands called the Oorlogsgravenstichting, or OGS, which has the website oorlogsgravenstichting.nl, and you can search for the name. And in this case, I searched for the same name, the uncle of my father, Albert Adolf Brouwer. And then you get one hit in the database. There are many results, but they're sorted on relevance because you also get all the Alberts and all the Adolfs. And then you see the record here of this person. He passed away in 1944 in the Indian Ocean near Bencoolen on the board of the Junior Maru, the famous ship that has been torpedoed. A Japanese ship has been torpedoed by the Allies and it sunk, and many people died, among which this family member. And it gives some details, military part, KNIL. So it's also a source of military history, if you want. And then one more idea. So there's still many other sources that you can use to follow a military, for also newspapers, but also graveyards, civilian graveyards. Because here, for example, we visited Penele graveyard, also in Surabaya. This is about what it looks like. So it's quite beautiful if you want graveyard. Some graves are in very good condition. Some graves are in very poor condition. But then here is one tombstone that is in very good condition, and it says this is here is a person called Paul Francois Corneille Vrede, Lieutenant Colonel in the artery. So if you see something like this, or you see it's maybe a person that interests you, you can then go back to our digital archive and see if you can find the person back, the Paul Francois Corneille Vrede. And so indeed, if you go to this archive, let's see if I can do this live as well, because it's a bit nicer. Oh, this is this is the other stud book of the grandfather of my father. And you see that this is a stud book which is not from the pupils, but from the real military. And so it gives some more details. It also says that the end of his service, he got a pension, and it gives also details of features. So, for example, here it says it has tattoos the letters JF on the right forearm, and it gives you the facial features as well. So brown hair, small nose, small mouth, round chin, dark brown hair, etc. Okay, but I wasn't looking for this. I was looking for, let's look for Vrede. This person that we encounter in Penele. And then we see if we still filter for the military, and let's translate this in English again. We see the first name we see here, this Paul Francois Corneille. It also translates the last name in from Vrede to peace, but but his name is Vrede, and then we have to be a little bit patient, I think. Let's see if I had it here. Yeah, so this is what the stud book then looks like. Um, let's see. Yeah, here we go. So, Paul François Corneille. And so there's all these details about him, also about um, his father, Louis Henry Guillaume, his mother, Hardy Ijem, a Japanese woman. I'm not completely sure if this is now the same person. Um, it also has a tattoo on the right arm, and the soldiers did this to be able to be recognized if they were wounded or they died. Then at least people could recognize who they are. This is Paul François Corneille Vrede. Yeah, it looks like it's the same person. Yeah, and here again, see, here again you see this full stump. So there's this complete stud book also of his that you can chase by number. So these stud books are not yet indexed, so they're a little bit more difficult to find. Um, so I want to have the original because it's a bit confusing that the last names are also translated. Um, so here's another Paul François Corneille. Uh, and the funny thing is that this Paul François Corneille Vrede is born in the Netherlands, in Tilburg. So for sure, there are two people with the same name, and I think this is in genealogy occurs very often that you have two persons with the same name, and you have to sort out who is who. Um, but there are not too many. I mean, two is not that many. I suspect that this person is more likely to be the person who's buried in Penele, because this person as a is more like a career as an officer. Okay. Okay. So this was all I'd like to share with you. I invite you just to give it a try if you have a family member in the military. Look him up using the Indisch archive and or National Archives and see if this helps you trace back your family history.